One part smart, one part fun, all parts entertaining.
It's what we call Chatterbinge.
Our next guest continues to enjoy a long and diverse career in film and television, and remains one of the more familiar faces in both of those media. Currently, he can be seen in the role of Dr. Jerry Baskin in the film Roswell Delirium, which is now streaming on Prime Video and Apple TV via Gravitas Ventures. It is great to say hello to Anthony Michael Hall. Anthony, welcome to Chatterbinge.
Thank you very much. Good to be with you.
Anthony, this film is quite a ride. It is a wonderful melange of nostalgia, sci-fi, altered history, and pondering what if. So, Anthony, if you would, help me set this up. Tell us a bit about Roswell Delirium.
Sure. Well, as you said, it has a lot of things going on. There's some sci-fi elements. It's ultimately a family drama about a mother and a daughter, and it takes place in both the present and the past, back in the 80s. What's interesting, it's an interesting exploration of what happened and what didn't happen. There's a sort of mystery element to it because the girl's trying to come to terms with the relationship with her mother, and the idea is that they both experienced some nuclear fallout by living out in the desert near an area called near Space Rock, which is a sort of our fictitious version of Roswell. Mm-hmm. And so that's the setup of the story. And so I play a psychologist who's helping her in the present day kind of come to terms with the reality of what really happened and what really didn't. It's an interesting exploration on that level. So, but as you mentioned, there's some interesting elements of sci-fi, some really good performances. We have the great Dee Wallace Stone in it, who's fantastic, Lisa Whelchel, Sam Jones, and then just a really great cast of young actors who did a beautiful job.
And as you mentioned, too, there are some very important themes in this. And as you get deeper into the film, you realize how important these themes are in building the foundation of this film. And they include mental health and trauma. And you mentioned the very powerful bond between a mother and a daughter. So, Anthony, how important is it that art, and in this case, a film, explores issues and communicates a purpose, no matter what kind of film it is? How important is that?
It's a great point. Well, look, I think there's room for all kinds of films. I think as audience members, we love it all, right? We love to see action. We love to see human drama. We love to see comedy. But in terms of this aspect and type of filmmaking, I think it is important. I think ultimately every great drama kind of descends upon family, right? And I think that's really important. So the exploration of family and the relationships, and as you said, trauma. I mean, these are things that are very subtly set up in the film, and then it explores them as you get deeper into it. So I'm really proud of it. I mean, there's a young lady named Ashton Selecki who stars as Mayday as an adult, and the young girl's name is Mayday in the film. And then we also have Kylie Levine playing her as a young girl at about 12. And they're both incredible in this film. They both did a great job because they're really kind of wrestling with a lot of different things. She's kind of a new girl at school, and she has this tortured relationship with her mom. Her mom is enduring some family abuse with her father. And then she's trying to figure out her past, So the film kind of mainly stays and lives in the past in the 80s. But then as we cut back to the present, you realize that Ashton, a.k.a. Mayday, is in therapy and in session with my character, who is Dr. Baskin. And he's helping her kind of come to terms with her past, and the idea is that did she misremember those things? Was she in fact abducted or not? And ultimately there's another exploration really of her mother's mental health. And that's really kind of the heart of the story ultimately.
And the film is so successful in straddling these two time periods, the present day and back into the 80s. And any film,
oh, thank you. You liked it.
And any film tries to create a feel. And Roswell Delirium has a feel, and it kind of stays with you for a while after you watch it. So what is the biggest challenge for an actor, for a director, for a writer in creating work that stays with an audience?
I think the first thing that came to mind when you said that is, I think, touching people's heart. Again, despite genre, despite the type of film. I mean, I think that's what people are endeavoring to do with art. And the idea that art imitates life or vice versa. But I think that's, and I think there's many long-held discussions about that. Well, does the artist ever achieve that? Do we ever achieve that in art? No, I don't know that we do. But in the exercise of doing it, great things can happen. So I think that's. It's aspirational in many levels, art, even in the doing of it, right? So I think it's a great question, And I think with this film, I'm very proud of it for the reasons that we've discussed, which is that it ultimately gets down to, like, this is really about family and connectedness and and this girl's trying to come to peace with her life and her mother, and beautiful, The fact that it gets there is a great achievement. So I was really struck with Rick's screenwriting. I thought the script was really great, and we were able to put together a great cast. As I said, the young actors did a beautiful job, and there's some nice lighter comedy and sort of light humored moments early in the film, and then it kind of descends in what it's supposed to be, which, as we said, it's the story of the girl and her mom.
In terms of the light comedy, it's the way sometimes some of the actors are positioned in this film. There is a wonderful parallel tongue-in-cheek salute to the 80s. And at one point, a school teacher named Mrs. Peltzer turns away from the chalkboard, and you see that it's Lisa Welchel, which means, Anthony, every 55-year-old who just got their AARP card last week is going to shout, "Oh, my God, it's Blair from the Facts of Life."
That's right.
You know that's going to happen.
You said it, Ed. You nailed it. I mean, I loved her growing up, and you're right. That's, she's what a wonderful lady, too. So really sweet and kind to all the kids. She worked with a lot of the young actors. Yeah. Was very generous, and great to see her on film. She's great in the film. And a real Southern lady, really nice lady.
And it leads me to this. Anthony, I once spoke with an actor that became very uncomfortable when I referenced their work from that time, from back in the day. But isn't it a badge of honor?
I think so. I think it's unfortunate when you see people with such frail egos that they can react like that. Like, for example, in my life, I can only speak for myself. I mean, I always honor John Hughes. That idea of we're all standing on the shoulders of giants. I don't know if it was Isaac Newton or one of those greats. But, in my life, those giants were John Hughes. It was Harold Ramis. It was the founder of National Lampoon, Matty Simmons. Certainly Lorne Michaels, So I think to not honor portions of your own life, no matter what you do, and even if it's career-related or just, I think it's a mistake. I think it's important to embrace it, But it takes people time, And some people, I guess, maybe can't or are not prepared to do that. But hopefully over time that lightens,
It makes me think about the tremendous amount of success in the early part of your career. You and I are the same age. And that means that going to the movies for me when I was in high school was essentially going to see Anthony Michael Hall. But when I watch you perform your craft now, I don't think about the old movies. I have a true appreciation for the work you do now. But I wonder, would you be as effective of an actor now if you didn't have those professional and life experiences back then?
Oh, probably not. That's a great question. Probably not. Thank you for that. Yeah. And it's interesting too. Sometimes I look at it and I go, wow, I was very free because I was a kid. It was not a career yet. And I was just having fun. But again, back to Mr. Hughes, he kind of elucidated that in me. He brought that out of me. He really encouraged me. So as a kid at 15, he set the tone, as you mentioned, like tonality, right? He set the tone on the set. He was just such a great guy. He was so fun to work with and easygoing, and it was just a great collaboration at all times. So I was very free as a kid working with John and in those films, and for that reason, because of him, and we just had a great rapport. But what he did for me, and he did for all of us, by that I mean we would shoot the scene as written because it was always funny, and then he would let us try things. Take 2 or 3 or 4, it might be some additional things, or we'll just mix something up, or something might dawn on us, and we'll go, hey, let's try that, So he was really great that way in terms of being a true collaborator,
If you're watching TV one night and you run into yourself from back in the day, I got to know. Do you stick around and watch it, or do you go right back to 90 Day Fiancé when the commercial is over?
Oh, hell no. No, I don't. That's what my wife's watching. I go right back to UFC or putting on the news. Or
Thank God. Amen.
Yeah, no, I don't. That's a great question. That's funny. No, it's more like, oh, keep going. But sometimes I'll look back and I'll see something, I'll watch a scene or two and I might reflect on, the making of that thing or whatever. But by and large, no, I just keep it moving.
I try to find something quirky to bring up in every conversation that I have. And this is what I found for you.
Yeah.
I read that your given name is Michael, Anthony, Thomas, Charles, Hall. That's a lot of letters and a lot of words. And it begs this question. Is your birth certificate like one of those maps you would get from Texaco back in the day that folds out 15 times to get it all in there?
The given name is Michael. That was funny. The given name is Michael Anthony Hall, but then the addition of the other 2 names, I think that was my confirmation name, being a good Catholic. So that's why I had all 4 there stacked. Usually 3's enough, usually.
You know what? It's true. My confirmation name, Joseph. I haven't even thought about that in so many years, so I appreciate that. You brought that back into my own perspective.
Back to our AARP cards,
That's right. I got one last question. Now, you've been a working actor since you were 8. So If there is an 8-year-old right now that is embarking on their career, and if you could bestow one piece of advice upon them, what would it be?
Great question. Okay, on acting, my favorite line is Spencer Tracy said, if you want to be an actor, don't get caught doing it.
Wow. Very nice.
And in terms of life advice, I would say truly never give up, as we've all know and heard that one, right? Yeah. But to become unstoppable in your own life, to make a decision to follow your path.
I love that. That's great advice for not just an actor, not just an 8-year-old, but for anybody, be they 8 or they just got that AARP card last week. It all makes sense, Yeah.
Like us.
Yeah, just like us. Well, once again, Roswell Delirium is now streaming on Prime Video and Apple TV via Gravitas Ventures. Anthony Michael Hall, this has been fun. Thanks for joining us here on Chatterbinge.
Yeah, pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much.
You got it. Have a good day. Take care.
All right, man.
All right, bye-bye. I'm Ed Kalegi. This is Chatterbinge.
This is Chatterbinge from Audio One.
And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can always catch our best guest conversations and segments right here on the YouTube home of Chatterbinge.